On tonight's episode here on Fast Break for IE Sports Radio, we finished our NBA preview series with the Pacific Division. With the toughest division in the NBA, it's going to be a tough who's going to come out on top. But we'll give our picks and let y'all decide who's in the right and who y'all got as well. Can the Lakers make it back to the Western Conference Finals after being shut out by the Nuggets this past season? Do the Clippers bounce back with a hefty Kawhi Leonard and Paul George? And would do something bigger draw them in the mid-season? Can the Sacramento Kings continue their rise, or are they going to tumble back down the standings? The Warriors added Chris Paul. Can that put them back in the hump and things after how last season went? And the Phoenix Suns added Bradley Beal. Is he good enough for them to get back to the NBA Finals? We'll discuss that and much more here on Fast Break, live for IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all the sports, and you're welcome to join us. And join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots to talk about, lots to get into here tonight, especially on tonight's episode when we preview the NBA Pacific Division, which means the Clippers, Lakers, Kings, Warriors, and Suns. Me and D-Lock talked off here, ladies and gentlemen, like on this one. It's like, this one's tough. Like, this division is pretty tough because a lot of things go right for a lot of teams, but a lot of wrong can go, for these teams as well. So, I hope y'all tuned in. It's going to be a fun division to talk about and where we got everybody in the pecking order. So, we'll preview that here momentarily. But D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty well, man. Nice little day. Football this next week is going to be great because we got, football today, football tomorrow. The NBA kicks off on Tuesday. So this is a hell of a week of sports coming up, and I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, it's a hell of a week. The team I help, high school team I help here locally, they won their area region this past Friday. So they went undefeated in the region. So, my spirits are pretty good. The NBA is coming back this Tuesday. The only thing that kind of sucks right now is just, my Titans ain't the best. But, it's all good, though. The NBA is coming back. The WNBA just concluded the other day. Let's talk about that real quick, D-Lock. The Aces went out, closed out on Game 4 this past Wednesday, 70-69 in a tough matchup against New York Liberty. With the Aces being led by all-world player Asia Wilson, 24 points, 16 rebounds. She was everything as you can ask for in a closeout game with 3 blocks also for her. 1 block, excuse me. For her, 60 points for Jackie Young. Kelsey Plum only had 7 points, but she had 8 rebounds, 5 assists. And then Clark had 10 points, 8 rebounds for the Aces as well. For the New York Liberty side of things, real quick. Breanna Stewart, 10 points, 14 rebounds, 3 for 17 from the field. Vandersuit, 19 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. Miss Sabrina, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And then Miss Jones, Jonquel Jones, who had a big game previously, the previous game, only had 6 points and 11 rebounds. I know we didn't live tweet about this game, but when you kind of watch it back and stuff like that, D-Lock, what are your thoughts on this? Is like people want to criticize Breanna Stewart not showing up, but we kind of talked about here on the show and previewing this series, like her and Asia Wilson are going to kind of cancel each other out in the sense how they play and all that stuff. But it's up to the other ladies, who's going to step up to that form to win this series. So, what are your thoughts on how this series went out and played out? And did it go as you predicted? I'll let you speak on it.
We've been looking for this matchup all year. And, we talked about it earlier in the year. And the thing is, we knew what the Aces had. And Aces dominated. I was expecting Liberty to at least get another game. But even with it being a lower scoring matchup, the Aces still found a way to get it done, found a way to make the adjustment that they needed to. We knew that, like I said, that game 4, Liberty jumped out with a hell of a first quarter, up by 10, that matched them with a 17-16 second quarter. And they come back and dominate in the third quarter. And I think the third quarter is what did it for the Aces. So for me, Miss Plum played, the most minutes. She had a hell of a series. So did Wilson. And I think that this series, I was expecting another game, but clearly the better team won, and they showed it in 4 games. And it just seemed like the Aces just ran away with it. I mean, they came through. They came ready to play. Kind of like they actually let Liberty get a game, and then the rest of the game they somewhat dominated. Obviously, with Liberty being in this situation, this last game, this is the last opportunity. So they gave it their all, and even with that, the Aces found a way to finish it off. So for me, I think this is a series that the Aces deserve, and they're the best team in the WNBA, and they proved it.
I'd say like this. Some people on Twitter are calling out Breanna Stewart and stuff like that, being shown something. And I get that point. Win, go home type of scenario. I get that. But it's just real weird that people having smoke for her and not having any smoke for Miss Sabrina, in which she really didn't show up at all in this series. She didn't make a dent to extent in this series. And her poor play in this series speak volumes. Because, yeah, Breanna Stewart only had 10 points. Yeah. But Jonquel Jones, if you go back to that game on Sunday, and she was killing it. 27 points for her that last game. 8 rebounds, 4 for 7 for 3-point land, 10 for 15 from the field. And then you go to Wednesday. For Jonquel Jones. 6 points. 11 rebounds. Only took like 1 3-pointer. That's kind of unacceptable in my eyes. So, yeah, you criticize your top players. And some people on Twitter were saying that, but where's the smoke for everybody else? It's like, where's the smoke for everybody else? Bench production, well, for both teams in this series are kind of poor, but bench production, nobody else on the bench stepped up to the plate. Free throws, 8 for 12. If you at least miss 2 of those, you win this game. Not getting to a free throw line. I know Asia Wilson's down there, but Get some contact. Draw a foul. So I think the delivery be fine, but I think you got to challenge. If Sabrina Ionescu, is she gonna be that girl? She's gonna be that lead guard or that shooting guard. She got to step up to the plate. I know she like Kobe Bryant, all that stuff. Kobe had getting her blessing before, but if she gonna have that mentality like Kobe, you got to step up to the plate. Cause like a do or die situation like this, depending on his mood, Kobe will be going out like this, especially in a tight game like this. Kobe be like, hey, give me the ball. Y'all gonna ride with me, ride her till we die. But I give salute to the Aces. Back to back. You know, I think they probably keep everybody told to repeat again next season. So I think the Aces looking pretty good. Let me ask you this: with Becky Hammond going this route in the WNBA, winning back-to-back titles, do you see a possibility of her maybe getting NBA looks?
I definitely do, but I think that I think teams are gonna definitely take a look and say, well, hey, she has been successful. That's what she wanted to be an NBA head coach, but I honestly think that she may be the first woman to be a head coach of the NBA team. I just feel like right now the resume is probably going to be. They're probably going to want to see her resume built a little bit more, and then make that approach. But I definitely see now, they're going to be looking at it a lot more than they were before. Now she's won these titles and she continues to be successful. Now when she does apply for these different jobs or try to get on these coaching jobs, they will give her more respect for it. So, but this is a big resume booster in my mind. It definitely helps a lot.
I look at it like this. We talked on the show in the past about retreads and stuff like that in the NBA and all that stuff. Even off air, we talked about that as well. I look at it like this. She's been under Greg Popovich's system for a number of years. So that for one, she went to a situation that the Aces, at times, they were on the cusp, to win a championship, but one thing or another, it just never really happened. Took this team, elevated them, and now you kind of talk about on the cusp of could this team be better than those Houston Comets teams back in the day? Maybe, maybe not. I think it's like an interesting thing to talk about. How does Tina Thompson match up against Asia Wilson? How does Cheryl Scoops and Cynthia Cooper match up against Kelsey Plum and Chelsea Gray? You might have to get a slight edge to Houston, especially in the guard play department. But she's taking this team and it's done her thing, 2 in a row. And I always said, like, it's, if we hire retreads, Steve Clifford, I hate to pick on him, but it's like if he could get it rehired again by the Hornets again, What we doing here? Rick Carlisle going back to the Pacers. Another step with the Pacers. What we doing here? Frank Vogel about his fourth damn head coaching job. Talk about him momentarily. What we doing here? You know, Doc Rivers. I know he's not coaching this year, but let's be real. Somebody be knocking on his door here soon, and it'd be like his about fourth, fifth stop when he gets back in coaching. Like, what we doing here? So I was thinking, like, need some fresh blood. Only thing I worry about, like, with some of these guys listen to her because because she is a woman. But I think, being under pop system, winning the two championships. And I don't care what league you're in, high school, college, pro, whatever. It's hard winning back-to-back titles. It's hard. You know, in my high school days, my high school up in Nebraska. Y'all, some people say, "Damn, Nebraska, it ain't that hard." The city of Omaha got some ballers. You trying to go against those schools and stuff like that, and then you got to compete against the Lincoln schools. Tough competition. It's hard to go back to back. So it's just I give her respect. I think she should. I mean, get interviewed for jobs, and I hope to see her in the NBA one day. Because as we've seen D-Lock, like we've seen these WNBA coaches, they get there and they get stuck there. We saw like Bill Laimbeer years ago trying to do that. I mean, he won the championships with Detroit and trying to use that to get into the NBA, and it never really materialized for him. Now, granted, it's Bill Laimbeer, so you know, take that as your worth. Michael Cooper was with the LA Sparks for years. Never really materialized into like an NBA job or assistant coach job. So, I just kind of worried that she may be pigeonholed there. I hope not, but we'll see. I'll give you the final word.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, for me, I think that maybe other teams will consider. But I think that the resume is a huge thing. We all know how it will look. If she does come in and get one of these coaching jobs, that'll be like one obviously be very historic. So hell, she can have one bad season, and now everybody thinks that this is the worst decision ever made. So I think right now, like I said, her resume is building to look very good to put her in a situation where she can be a head coach of an NBA team. I just think that maybe a year or two, that she's won maybe one or two more titles. I think an NBA team actually does extend that offer. And I think that right now it's and we see how the NBA is looking, and we'll talk about it. Like it's starting to be to where we got these top-notch teams. A few of them, and I rest a lot of. There's just a bunch of terrible teams. It's not even all the way down the board. So for me, obviously she get an opportunity. I think that it may be at one of these teams that are at the bottom. So I think right now, like I said, she is having a hell of a career right now, proving that she is demanding success. But I think in a few years, I think I definitely see that we could see her coaching, especially if she wins more titles.
Yeah, and like I said, congratulations to the Aces on back-to-back titles. And I think the challenge now, looking how the WNBA, how the league is right now, besides the Liberty, I don't think nobody else can challenge. The Sparks, I said this about the Sparks before. I think they got too many of their star players are worried about their outside interests. Not saying they can hoop, but some of them kind of like more worried about being on camera to trying to be the player they can be. No shade. I mean, you gotta get your bread, but I think y'all just worry about everything instead of worry about your your own league. Just saying. Just saying. And then the Mercury, the Skylar Diggins Smith situation, that's real funny. Brittany Griner, she's back, but how is she mentally? Diane Taurasi, she's old. So I don't think there will be in a way. Dallas can get there, but I think they just need a piece or so. So just look around the league, the Lynx, unless Maya Moore comes back, you know, you forget about it. And I think some of these other teams is kind of mid right now. The Kinetic Sun, they're okay, but I think the Aces got a real chance to to challenge that four-peat that Houston did. Now, will Becky Hammond be in that fold for all that? We'll see. But I think that's the next challenge. Like, can we be better than those Houston teams that started this league years ago? So, something to keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Something to keep in mind. All right, D-Lock, ladies and gentlemen. But before we talk about the Pacific Division here and preview that, with the NBA season coming up, our sponsor here for IS Sports Radio, Planet Jerky. If you go to their website, planetjerky.net, they got a sale for a host of jerky flavors. With the NBA coming back, why not get some jerky to sit and enjoy the game with? Enjoy your game with. They got Carolina Reaper Premium Biscuit, Cowboy Beef Jerky, Sweet and Hot, Ghost Pepper, Sweet Pepper Teriyaki Premium Biscuit, Sweet Smoking Barbecue Premium Brisket, family size, Smoking Barbecue Premium Brisket, this regular size, Volcano Jalapeno Premium Brisket, $10. The family size is $20. They're all on sale right now, between $10 to $20. I know things may be tight, but still, that's not bad size for jerky. And if you want your jerky before your season, go to planetjerky.net and order your jerky to have it sent to you before the NBA season starts. And we got a good host of games coming up this Tuesday and for the rest of the week. So get your jerky now at planetjerky.net. I love me some jerky as well. All right. To everybody to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to Marcus. Los. Great. Shout out to Mike Pat. How you doing tonight, sir? Shout out to Terry Rodriguez. How you doing tonight, sir? Get y'all's predictions in. Pacific Division. 1 to 5. Who do y'all think will be number 1 to number 5? This is the toughest one in our series. Everybody else we done is kind of simple to the point. But this is the real tough one. Will the LA Lakers, with their new additions, make it back to the Western Conference Finals? Will the Golden State Warriors, with Chris Paul in tow, get back in the swing of things? Or things starting to crumble in their dynasty? The Sacramento Kings snuck up on a lot of people in this last season. Can they do it again? The Phoenix Suns added Bradley Beal. Can he get them back to the NBA Finals? Or they got more underlying issues with their roster? And the LA Clippers. Can Kawhi Leonard and Paul George stay healthy for them to make a run at the championship? Or are we about to see signs of rebuild in Clipperland? Or do they make a deal for James Harden sometime during the season? So, since we laid this out, D-Lock, I know you've been working on this for a little bit. So have I. I'll let you start out first as always. 5-1 Pacific Division. Who you got, sir?
Okay, so I'll start off by saying that I think that this is a bold statement, but I think we get 4 teams in the playoffs out of this division. As you said, this is one of the hardest divisions, and actually the hardest division. Hell, we talked about it last Sunday, and ever since then, I've been stressing out trying to put these together. But I'll make it pretty short, not too tough, not too long.
Oh, take your time. Take your time. You're good.
Okay, so number 5, and this may shock a lot of people already early. Well, this whole list is going to be shocking. We're going to have different orders for everybody. I got the LA Clippers. Right now, they just came out with that rule as far as resting your players. You can't rest the same day or same game, X, Y, and Z. That's the biggest issue I have with this team. I feel like, with Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, there are going to be times where one injury is a big, big issue with this team. And I can't depend on them being healthy right now. I really can't. So for me, putting them at 5 was a very tough thing. But, you have Russ there, and also still in question what they're going to do with James Harden if they try to make that trade or if it happens. So got them at 5. Russ is still one of those outstanding players, but he does turn the ball over a lot. But the biggest thing for me is what happens with Paul George and Kawhi. We need these guys to actually be on the same page and play often, but injuries is what hurts this team a lot. Going to get Kenyon Martin Jr. is a huge pickup to me as well. I definitely like that pickup. I just need to see what this team can do when they're healthy. And I think health plays a huge part with this team. If they can be healthy, they can be one of the better teams, not only in the division, but, overall in the NBA. So I definitely got the Clippers at 5. At 4, this is where it gets very interesting. I got the Sacramento Kings. You go get Chris Duarte, which was a pretty good piece.
Yeah.
Liking getting Jalen Noel as well. I think that's a pretty good piece as well. So they're pretty loaded at the guard and forward position. I just feel like this team was a big surprise last year. Very big surprise. I think I had them last year in this division. But now that they're on the stage, I think that teams are going to know what to expect and prepare for this team. So for me, I think I still got them making the playoffs. But as far as having that top seed, I don't see it. I think that these other teams in this division just made huge offseason moves to get better. And getting Chris Duarte was good, getting Jalen Noel, but I don't see that compared to the other pieces that were made, transactions made for the other teams. So, like I said, I think that the Kings are going to be one of the better teams in the West. I damn sure just don't see them getting, top 2 or hell, top 3 in this division. I think that there'd be a close 3, a close 4. Now, I don't really see them have too many health issues, but going to get Chris Doyle was a big piece. Now you got a little bit more with Malik Monk and Kevin Huter. I would love to see Trey Lyles get some more minutes. Grab JaVale McGee. Not sure how much he's going to play because you already got Trey Lyles and Alex Len there. So this team does have a lot of bodies, but I think the biggest thing is now, we know that the Sacramento Kings are here, and these other teams made huge trades to get a hell of a lot better. So I have them at 4. Number 3, and this is where I literally sat like 2 days and I could not figure out who I wanted to do. I just could not figure out who it was going to be. Got the Golden State Warriors.
Okay.
Draymond is going to be out for a while. To be honest, that's one of the main reasons that I have them here. Without that defensive presence like that, I think that impacts them early in the season. Now, I still think they are a team that's better than Sacramento, better than the Clippers, because you did make a big move to go get Chris Paul. I'm very interested to see Steph Curry play off ball a lot more. I think that's what we're going to see a lot of. Hell, now you got the Splash Brothers that have a quarterback in a sense. So, for those that's watching the Dolphins and the Eagles, you're seeing 2 quarterbacks that got 2 great weapons on the outside. And that's kind of what I see here with the Warriors, with having Chris Paul and having Steph Curry and Klay Thompson on the floor together. That is a very scary sight to see. Andrew Wiggins is going to be a big part of this team. I think getting Darius Saric, I think we see a lot more of him in the season just because, Draymond out. But I think, like I said, for me, Draymond being out is going to hurt. And they're going to be in these high-scoring games, which they will be. I just feel like, missing him a little bit can give the other 2 teams that slight edge earlier. And, it could make a difference in where this team goes. So, again, they're going to make the playoffs without a doubt. So, I think that this team is going to be scary. I want to see what happens when if they do put Chris Paul on the bench and he does run the second unit. That's also going to be scary as well. They have different ways that they can move with this team, and I really like that. So that's what makes me like this team. It's just, like I said, you're talking about a division that is very loaded now, and each team made trades knowing what was going to happen. So, so I got them at number 3. Number 2. Now, I ain't gonna lie, getting number 2 was a hell of a lot easier than picking 3. I got the Los Angeles Lakers.
Oh.
Yes. So we know what we had with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell. Going to grab a Gabe Vincent was a big piece. This roster looks a hell of a lot better than last year. Gabe Vincent, Taurean Prince, Christian Wood was a big piece. Going to get Jackson Hayes, which we've seen they had issues with last year, trying to figure out, who's going to play when, Anthony Davis is hurt. Getting Cam Reddish. I love this roster. I really do. But the biggest thing for this team needs Anthony Davis to stay healthy. If Anthony Davis stays healthy, we're probably talking about number 1 team in the division. But we've seen multiple times. We're also talking about possibly an NBA MVP as well. He'll be in the talks. But we know and we've seen over time what happens. As you said before, injuries play a huge part in what happens with this team and with this division. I think that you go grab a Gabe Vincent who's going to bring a defensive presence with the guards. You got Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell. You're fine at the guard position. grabbing Cam Reddish was a hell of a pickup. Now you now you kind of can rest LeBron. He doesn't need to play as many minutes or as many games as he did. He doesn't need to have a lot of play like that. And who they got really good was getting Christian Wood at the price that they did. I think I like that as well. I feel like this team is gonna be, and it's gonna be hard to see what seed they get. And for me, I like the fact that you have that depth. We definitely want to see what happens with Jared Vanderbilt and see where he fits in this role. But getting the Christian Wood, Rui Hachimura, this team is loaded. But the biggest thing and the biggest question mark we know is Anthony Davis. So for me, I think that this team, the Lakers, and I'm a big LeBron James fan. I just want to see how this team can map out if they continue to be healthy, and go from there. It's gonna. Anthony Davis is him and LeBron is what makes this team go. And now we're talking about LeBron at I think he has maybe 2 or 3 more years left. And he's already saying, this team kind of runs through Anthony Davis. So it's clear that Anthony Davis needs to be healthy. And if he can be healthy, I think this team goes far. But that is a big if. A very big if. And that's why I have them. One of the main reasons why I have them at 2. I still like them to go very deep in the playoffs. And I think that, they're going to cause a lot of hell for a lot of teams this year. And number 1 is the Phoenix Suns. Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. I'm sorry. That alone plays a huge part in me putting them at the top of this division. You got guys that can score anytime they want. Not necessarily a lot of defense, but in this type of NBA where it's not as physical as it was, a decade back, now you got scorers who can, and we've seen this happen with the Brooklyn Nets as well. But I think that this trio is very dangerous. In my mind, I think they're very, very dangerous. We talked about last year, and I think the year before, we kept saying, well, damn, like, do Bradley Beal want to stay in Washington? Like, what's the deal? So now that he's actually packed up and moved, I think that he went to a team that is very much a good spot. But that's not the only good thing about this team. You went and grabbed Grayson Allen, who can shoot as well. You went and got Eric Gordon, who can come off the bench and help as well. I love those pieces. And then he got a big trade with, I believe, Portland, and went and grabbed Yusuf Nurkic and Keon Johnson. Like, this is a very talented roster, and it seems like deja vu me saying this with the Brooklyn Nets a few years ago. So I like what this team has and what they can do. Adam Bobo is a big piece as well. You got Drew Eubanks. Like, what is it that this team does not have? And obviously, I think one big piece is a true point guard. So again, that's something that we see Golden State have with Chris Paul, but I like what this team has. I feel like you have a Kevin Durant, you got a Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. There's no reason why this team is not in the Western Conference Finals or Western Conference Championship. There's no reason. You have all these guys. There's no reason why they should not have it. They should not be there. You got Nasir Little, who we've seen come in and play pretty decent. Keanu Bates-Diop, who we've seen with the Spurs get good minutes. He can, go out there and drop 15 and 7 if he need. So they got a lot of guys. And they got Yuta Watanabe, who's a shooter as well. So for me, this Suns team is one of the better teams out here, roster wise, and I definitely expect them to be very, very tough. And it seems like every time we talk about a trio with Kevin Durant, he got two superstars with him. So for me, Clippers at 5, Kings at 4, Warriors at 3, Lakers at 2, Suns at 1. This, and I'll say this, and I hand it to you. This division is a very tough division to put together. I mean, I had one team at 5, and I kept starting over the whole time. It was very tough to put this together. So, yeah, man, this is an interesting division, and we're gonna see actually 3 of those teams Tuesday because the Suns and the Warriors got each other Tuesday at 10, and then the Lakers play the Nuggets 7:30. So, yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I got the Suns winning this division, and hopefully, if AD can stay healthy, he may have something to say about that.
Woo! Oh, my list is woo! We are different on this one. Before I get mine, let me go to the chat real quick. Mike Pat said, Mike Pat said, you copy his whole list. Word for word, flow for flow. In the words of Soldier Boy. Mike got the same list. He got the Suns number 1, Lakers number 2, Warriors 3, Kings 4, and the Clippers 5. So he's probably in the same boat as you. And like Mike always say, if you rely on PG and Kawhi to stay healthy and be present and been present, then oof, And I'll get to them in a second. Mr. Rodriguez got the Lakers at number 1, the Warriors at number 2, Suns at 3, Kings 4, Clippers 5. So that's a good list. That's a good list for both of y'all. And then Michael said, Rui's my dog. The Lakers got him for a bag of peanuts and Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. Regular, not even spicy or pimento. I'll say this: that I ain't had the pimento chicken sandwich yet from Chick-fil-A, but I never like pimento cheese. It's like, you just look at it, it's just like, I just never felt it like this as a kid. Now it's like, where people vote, but I never like pimento. It's like, ugh. But anyways, all right. I'll start off with my number 5. I got the LA Clippers. I got a starting lineup of Westbrook, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Nicholas Batum, and Ivan Zubac. Let me say this about the low. I know we talked about the low management thing a while back. Well, let me add a little something to it. The media, I guess we can call ourselves media as well, but we talking like ESPN, Fox, whoever else. Those sorry fools. And other people, and fans, they made it to a point that if you don't win championships, your career ain't worth the shit. Sorry to cuss like that, but long the days, like even when you were growing up, or the guy y'all fellas in the chat, there was a time in sports that, okay, yeah, Patrick Ewing never got a ring, but we still talk about his greatness and stuff like that. We ain't like diminish him because he didn't win a ring. Same thing with Karl Malone. Never, and John Stockton, never diminished them because they never won a ring. Charles Barkley. You know, I could be missing a couple of folks right now. Look at the football side of things, like Dan Marino, Boomer Esiason, um, Barry Sanders, baseball. Who I think of baseball? Uh, I can't think about Ken Griffey. You know, we never, never diss those guys because they never won a championship. Now, we get to this period here, and see the media like, if you don't win the championship, your legacy don't be crap. Don't make it to the championship here. You don't win crap. And I kind of hate that we got to this point, you know, that we kind of diminish these guys because they don't win a championship. You know, I kind of hate that, and leads me to the Clippers. Yeah, Kawhi has won a couple. You know, but it's just like, if we try to value the championship deal, would you ever have this guy ready to go in the playoffs, or what about the East Coast stretch when they played the damn Hornets and he get hurt again? So this is what I'm kind of at. And we've been saying this about Kawhi Leonard for the past couple years on this show. That dude ain't been right for a good while. Anyway, I know people want to put the load management thing at him and Paul George, but let's be real. That dude, Kawhi, especially Kawhi Leonard, that dude been hurt for a while.
Yep.
People want to put the blame, the load management on him. Come on, people. We know. So we won't point at the Zaza Pachulia thing, and which that didn't probably help matters. But he could have had other underlying issues we probably didn't know that before. And this dude been hurt for a while. So I think, if he plays a good bit, hey, him and Paul George together, hey, like you alluded to, they one of the dangerous teams in the NBA. If Kawhi Leonard's good, healthy, he's top 10 in the NBA. Let's be real about that. But I just thinking, I don't think this guy. I don't think Kawhi is never fully healthy again. I I don't think he's going to be that Kawhi Leonard that we saw in San Antonio. Those days are behind him, man. I got them in 5 for that reason. And Paul George, I think he's always due for being out for a little while. And that's why I kind of hate about the rules that the league's trying to do, like trying to make these guys force these guys to play. If they hurt, they hurt. You know what I'm saying? And I wonder how some teams gonna get around it. Like if these guys are hurt, or whatever, and you're trying to make them play, are they gonna play for a little bit, like a quarter, and then send them out? And I do wonder if some of these teams gonna get around doing that type of stuff. But if these guys can't go, they can't go. If Kawhi Leonard was healthy, he'd been probably out there playing. Same thing with Paul. And Paul would say that on his podcast. Kawhi ain't sitting out just sitting out. So I just got to get that off my chest because I think media and we kind of drive that championship thing and stuff like that. It's kind of like championship buzz. I mean, yes, championships matter, but you know, Just look at the whole thing. I mean, yeah, certain circumstances kind of get in the way of things. Go back to Patrick Ewing. You had to deal with Jordan. He came in the '80s. Patrick got drafted in the '80s. You had to worry about the Celtics, Lakers, even the Rockets with Olajuwon, Pistons, those bad boy Pistons, and then later on those mid '90s Miami Heat teams with Zoe and crew. So there's a lot of factors going into things. If you really don't think about it, if you got to think about Kevin Garnett until he won a ring with Boston, look what he got to go through with in his prime years in Minnesota. Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, Karl Malone. I kind of blanking on a couple of folks. Large one in his later stage of his career. But y'all kind of get my drift. Dirk, we, got on and popping. This is where we at. And for the Clippers, if George and Leonard ain't healthy, this team ain't going nowhere. And I don't think getting James Harden is going to change that. Now, why Terrence Mann's a hold up in this trade, I don't know. This man only averaged like 9 points last year, and you thought he took like a big leap in scoring last year with those same two guys out for a lot of the years. So if he didn't take a big leap with those two guys out for a good chunk of the year, why are we holding on to him? Which leads me to Steve Ballmer. I know this dude want to compete. I know he wants stars for the forum or where it's gonna be called down in Inglewood. You can have me out in the chat, Mr. Rodriguez, what that arena is gonna be called down in Inglewood. But I think Ballmer years ago still trying to compete. With Patrick Beverly, Lou Williams, Zubac on those guys. I think it kind of backfired in a way because if he just kind of stuck with the rebuild in a sense with SGA in the fold and all that stuff, you're not trading on your draft capital. I think now you kind of look at things now. You kind of came out better on the other side of things. Because how old is SGA now? Like what? 25, 26?
Yeah, he might be. Yeah, he got to be probably maybe 25, 24. Pretty young.
Yeah, 25 years old. And Terry Rodriguez said it is the Intuit Dome. Okay. So you're trying to sell for the Intuit Dome. That's going to sell itself. So I think Steve Ballmer kind of played how the Clippers are in the state they're in right now. I'm not saying we signed Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and getting those guys at the time you did years ago. I did a whole podcast on the process about that episode. I was about to go lay down, go to bed, me and my wife, and next thing you know, I see the notification that Kawhi Leonard signed the Clippers. I was saying, damn, okay, I could talk about that in the morning, whatever. And then next thing you know, 2 minutes later, Paul George getting traded to the Clippers. Never mind, I'll do episode now. I'll go to sleep later. Up to 2 a.m. Talk about that. And what you got? And what you got to show for it? If you're the Clippers. Injury by injury for your 2-star players. So I got the Clippers at 5. Also on the bench, shout out to Kobe Brown, Huntsville, Alabama. I hope he does well out there. He gets some good playing time. Uh, I I do wonder if you know Robert Covington gets some time because he's been kind of just sat on the bench, even though I think he can contribute to this team. So we'll see. Norman Powell, I mean, he's a streaky player. I mean, when he's hot, he's hot. But when he's not, he's not. So I think he's got to be consistent if they're going to compete. But this is like an old starting lineup if you really look at it. 4 guys in their 30s, mid 30s at that. So I think this team is due for rebuild soon. And I think I'll get off the Clippers here in a second, but I think Steve Ballmer, he got to like swallow his pride a little bit. Like, I got to do a rebuild here soon. Or somebody got to convince him to do it. So I got the Clippers at 5. Number 4, I got the Phoenix Suns.
What?
I got the Phoenix Suns at number 4. I got a starting lineup of Bill, Booker, Grayson Allen, Durant, and Nurkic. Last year, Durant, Booker, and Bill missed time due to injury. In the playoffs, we saw, their star players miss some time. I for these 3 guys, yes, they should scare you every night of those at those levels of Durant, Booker, and Bill. But how many games they gonna play together? We saw that in Brooklyn. Like Irving, Durant, and Harden, they didn't play much together. Booker has been hampered with hamstring issues. Durant has been missing some time here. Bill, same thing. And then Frank Vogel at coach. I mean, I'm not saying he can't coach, but it's just like, can he get you over the hump? And then Nurkic, he's missing time as well. And then that depth behind the low post is not the best. So I mean, I'm not saying they could be one of the top teams in the West. I'm not saying that, and I think they'll be in the playoff hunt. But as it's like, how many guys these guys gonna play? So I got them at number 4, and then like for the young guys like Bowl, Eubanks, Nazir Little, Keon Johnson. I think that bench, like, who's gonna rise to the top? Who's gonna play major minutes with these guys? We seen it like at times with Bowl. He put up decent numbers, but every times he don't. Can he be consistent? Eubanks, same thing. Nazir Little got a lot of potential. Could be a nice defender in this league. Can he rise? Elevate his play. Keon Johnson, same thing. Like you mentioned about the point guard. That's what I also worry about as well. Not having a true point guard. And I do wonder if they can obtain somebody like that. I think that's something they got to be on the look forward to improve on. Because I don't see Bill, Booker. I mean they can handle the duties of handling the ball, but can they be good setup men? There's one thing, if you have like runs, private runs at somebody's house in L.A. or New York or whatever, that's different. But I'm talking about in the game setting, can y'all do that for 40 minutes of the game? And also the Frank Vogel factor. how is he going to be with these guys? I worry about that too. Like I said, Phoenix will make the playoffs. I'm not saying the Clippers could make the playoffs. They could make a play in. I got all 5 teams at least make all them at least in the play in. Just the division's that deep. But it's just like I got to see if these guys can play for a good majority of the season. If they do, hey, they be tough to beat. But it's a wait and see with me with Phoenix. Number 3, the Golden State Warriors. I got a starting lineup of I got a starting lineup of Curry, Thompson, Wiggins, Green, and Looney. I know they've been flirting with Chris Paul in that lineup as well. But I was thinking like, damn, that y'all going really small there with Chris Paul. So I put Looney there in the starting lineup and bring Paul on the bench, but they could start Chris Paul. I'll say my piece about Draymond Green and the Jordan Poole situation. I know he's gonna miss some time in the beginning of the year, but I was thinking like y'all gave him another big contract. You know, they all seem to like place blame on Jordan Poole how last season went, and he was kind of like that scapegoat, and I didn't like that in a sense because Klay Thompson at times during the last season was kind of like non-existent. Draymond, as fine as good as he is defensively, he don't bring you nothing offensively. Looney, he's a nice garbage player, but I mean he's not scared nobody to death. Wiggins, he's fine, but I mean that's about it. So, I did 3. I think Chris Paul in certain situations would be better than Jordan Poole, but you got to think about it. He's 38 years old. Curry, he about my age, 35. Thompson, 34, 33. Draymond, same thing. Never old lineup. I I do question, did Steve Kerr and company fumble the youth movement? James Wiseman, did they fumble that development? Jordan Poole came on pretty nicely, but did they fumble that as well? Did they handle that situation as best they could? Did they fumble that? Moses Moody, I think he'll be in a rotation more this year. The drafted the kid from Santa Clara. I don't got his name in front of me right now, but he's been in a good rotation for the most part in the preseason. They added Dario Saric, who I like a lot, but I mean, he's fine offensively, but defensively, he's not going to bring you much. Can he help you out there? Go to Steve Kerr. He was the head coach of the U.S. team in the FIBA World Cup. I don't know. It's just like I know he has other coaches on the bench. Eric Spoelstra, boy from Gonzaga, I forgot his name. He'll come to me here in a second. But they couldn't get the job done. He couldn't find the right pieces to against certain matchup teams, stuff like that. And I'm kind of worried that have we got the best coaching out of him in this situation? Like Mark Jackson laid down the foundation with Green, Curry, and Thompson. I guess see Kirk credit. He kind of elevated a little. I mean, a little bit. But it seemed like, it got a gift with Kevin Durant signing. And after that, it's just kind of like, yeah, they won the championship against the Celtics, but it's just like they all is all dependent on Steph Curry, and everybody else's plays kind of went down a little bit. Thompson's plays went down. Yeah, granted, he had the ACL injuries. Green, like I mentioned before, bringing nothing on offensively. Everybody else, Kuminga, still developing. Moody should be a fine offensive player. It's just like this organization, like we talked about before on the show, they kind of fumbled the two timeline type of deal. And we're going to kind of see how that goes this season. But I think this team got at least like one more 2 seasons with this core. I know Klay Thompson is up for a contract decision. They may give it to him because they got nobody else behind him to boot him off the island. And like I said, I wonder with these guys' production, Green and Thompson, can they keep up? But along with Steph Curry there, I think you'll be there in the mix. And having Chris Paul there for at least one good season, I think they'd be fine. But I got them number 3. If you're doing these rankings, you could have easily flipped Phoenix for Golden State. I thought about that, but I thought, I think Chris Paul I'll give them a nudge with Chris Paul off the bench over Phoenix. But we'll see. 2, I got the Sacramento Kings. Now, last year when we did these picks, I ain't think nothing about Sacramento. I'm like, okay, they got Mac Brown. They traded for Herter and all that stuff. They got Sabonis. They got full season Sabonis. We'll see. And then as the season went along, they were in the top 4 in the West for a good while. And I'm like, you go past the calendar, December, January. I was like, oh, they still up there. February, they still up in the standings. And they stayed up there for the rest of the year. I was like, oh, damn. They're a pretty damn good team. I ain't think that like that. Made the playoffs the first time in a long time. Fox, Herter, Murray, Barnes, Sabonis in my starting lineup. My question for them, can they keep the consistency up? Can Mike Brown keep this team consistent? Or you're not going to sneak up anybody this upcoming year. So you're going to get everybody's best shot. I don't think anybody's going to have low expectations out of y'all at the gate this year. So can they be consistent there? Can Sabonis be more consistent down low? Can he be more a threat down there? Outside shot, make consistent out there. Harrison Barnes. I mean, good solid role player, but I need a little bit more out of him. My second name, Murray. Can he take a big leap in year 2? Played well for this rookie year. I expect a little bit more out of him. And then they signed Sasha Vetikov from overseas this year to a 3-year contract. How he's going to fit into things? Can he come in and play well for this team? I really see how he's going to patch into things with the Sacramento Kings. But also, Mike Brown, can he be consistent on this team? De'Aaron Fox, paying him like a superstar player. Can he continue his play? Now, this team could be, slide down the rankings, D-Lock, and slide down to 4 or 3. But really got no big questions, on except, can they be consistent? And I think they can. They will balance. I think they're real coach. Malik Monk off the bench. Alex Lynn as well. I, I, you mentioned JaVale McGee. I think he's just there for the check. I'm tired of seeing JaVale McGee get big contracts and he don't do shit. So I think he's just like the third string center in my books. But I think this team's pretty solid. So I got Kings at number 2. I think the pick and roll ability for Fox and Sabonis, I think they'll factor into things. I think Sabonis will create mismatch problems for some of these centers. So he's got to take advantage of that. And he can't be punked out either. If he does that, I think this team will be just fine. So I got Sacramento at number 2. Number 1, I got the LA Lakers. A lot of things are riding on, can LeBron's body hold up and can Anthony Davis's body hold up? If those two things happen, I think it'll go a long way for this team. Mike Pat brought this up in the chat. Rui Hachimura got traded to the Lakers for, like he mentioned, a bag of peanuts. And his play went up like a lot with the Lakers. And one thing, I brought up on Twitter, after watching him more closely and stuff like that, on his shot, he really never fall through on his jumper. And I don't know they got on him on that or worked on that with them, but next thing you know, his jump shots, when he's shooting the ball, you see it, especially in the playoffs, when he's like one of the better 3-point shooters in the playoffs, his jumper was wet. He was on. And I don't, if Mike's still listening in the chat, I don't think we never saw this in DC like this. So, his, rise and development with this coaching staff, especially mainly with Phil Handy, I think that Rui's going to play a big factor into things. Getting Gabe Vincent, getting that insurance at the guard spot just in case Russell ain't up to par. You got that other guy that can come in and score the ball for you. I thought that was a good move for them. We resigned Austin Reeves, kept it in the fold. Good move for them. They are going to start Torian Prince for the early in the season, so we'll see how long that lasts. I got a question for this team. Can this team start off hot? Can you go into Denver Tuesday and make a statement against the Nuggets? Ring ceremony, all that stuff. Can you make a statement against the Denver Nuggets on Tuesday? And not only that, at least the first 20 games, can you make a good statement? Can you start off the season 17-3 or something like that? Don't want to look 20 games down the season and you're 9-13. I'm talking about, what's wrong with the Lakers? What's wrong with the Lakers? What's wrong with the Lakers? Can you start off hot? I do question. Here's my thing. With Torian Prince starting. They gave Jared Vanderbilt a contract extension. Torian Prince and Jared Vanderbilt kind of play the same position. Yeah, Tori Prince is starting. I kind of wonder if Rob Pelinka kind of jumped the gun and given Vanderbilt that extension. Because if you got the guy on the veteran deal starting for you, what's the point paying Vanderbilt the money you did? I do wonder that. Um, Jackson Hayes, good pickup at center. I think that's a good move. Getting Christian Wood, very solid move. And for the money he signed, like you alluded to, I surprised more teams didn't trying to get at him if he's going to be had for that price. So a good move for them. I just hope he kind of steps up more in the defensive department and stuff like that, and stay ready as well. Because about Anthony Davis, if he missed some time, then Christian Wood will be asked to fill in that role, and can he produce in that role if Anthony Davis missed some time? So I think that's a lot of expectation for him as well. D'Angelo Russell, can he shake off that bad play in the rest of the conference finals? Can he shake it off and be a better player up for it? Or if not, you got Gabe Vincent breathing down his neck. So I think that's another storyline you got to worry about the Lakers right there. But I like what they did. We talked about the draft. I love what they did in the draft as well. Hood Schifino should be a good development guard here for them for a couple within the next couple years. I don't expect a lot out of him this year. The kid from Pepperdine, I love that pickup for them. I had a first round grade on him. I think he'll spend some time in the G League, but somebody you can develop and have in your system. Max Christie, he's still there. What he's going to be like in year 2 for this Laker team. Time will tell. But I just think with the additions they made and I think a sense of determination, I think this team is due for a bounce back. Now, could they fall down a little bit? Sure. But I think this team is bound for a bounce back. And like you alluded to, it kind of really depends on Anthony Davis. Because as we see in the playoffs, like at times he looked like the best player in the league, and then other times, like, where you at, dog? Where you at? Joker's punking you. Where you at? So I got the Lakers at number 1. So to recap for me, Clippers 5, Suns 4, Warriors 3, Kings 2, Lakers number 1. I'll let you comment.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think this was a very tough. Oh my gosh! Wow. Well, this was a very tough division, and one thing that you said before we started, you said that injuries are going to play a big part. So, it's going to play a big part in a lot of these teams. So, and the key teams like Phoenix and the Lakers, and also the Clippers, I think those are the main teams really that, well, hell, even the Warriors at this point too, where injury does play a big part. So, I think we were both on the same page with a lot of it. Like I said, that's a hell of a list. And I think we both agree that at least 3 or 4 of these teams do make the playoffs. It's gonna be very tough though, man. Like I said, I like this team or this division. very interesting. I'm glad that we start off and see 3 of them Tuesday night. In 2 days. That's going to be very exciting. So, yeah, man, I think I'm excited about this season. And we'll definitely have a lot more to talk about, next Sunday, because we'll have about 4 or 5 days of games. So this is a big season coming up, and these teams have made big moves. There's definitely going to, like I said, injuries. I think the biggest injuries issue, or the biggest person that we need to see that's going to make the biggest impact in this division for their team is Anthony Davis. If he is healthy, the Lakers can run away with this division, in my eyes. But that's a big, if. So I like the list, man. I know, like I said, it kind of threw me out when I seen you had the Suns at 4, but I definitely understand.
And, and who's to say, we could look at, the first couple weeks and Phoenix be up top. You know what I'm saying? And we saw like a stretch last year that the Pelicans, when everybody was healthy and stuff, and Zion was playing, they were top of the West. But we saw how things went, so it was just like, of all these teams we talked about and previewed for the past several weeks, who's gonna be consistent enough, who's gonna stay available to keep your team at the top. With Denver, they were like at the top, between the top 3 seeds for a good bit for the majority of the year. And we know playing in Denver, it's a different animal. And plus, winning championship now, you got more of a motivated fan base. So that could be a tougher place to play. Do you want to deal with that come playoff time? You really don't want to. Memphis, same thing. Despite Jaws issues and some of the injuries and stuff like that, last year they were still top of the West. The structure and all that stuff. The structure that they had there still kept them on top of the West. And stay on Memphis for a little bit. Steven Adams is going to be out for the rest of the year due to knee injury. And now you go, John Morant missed the first 25 games of the year. So you got Memphis stumbling at the gate. You don't got your center. I think Brandon Clark's back in the fold, but he's come back from an ACL injury his own self. So you got Memphis right there. Who I still got them top of the Southwest Division. They're gonna be something off the gates. So we did these previews and stuff like that. At the times we did them. Look at things now. Memphis, they're gonna be hurting out the gate. Can like Dallas take advantage of that? Houston take advantage of that? The Pelicans, the Spurs, Victor Wembanyama has really like it's gonna be scary how he's going to be this year. The way he played this preseason, the moves he did. I know we got both of us put the Spurs at number 5, but it's like, damn, I don't know. They could surprise some folks. So I think this season is going to be a lot of fun. The low management thing is going to keep an eye on, and you know, and we'll see, how many of these guys play and how that's going to factor into things. But like I say, these guys are hurt. I mean, these guys are hurt. They hurt. Like we saw like a couple years ago with the Lakers in the playoffs when they played the Suns, and everybody Anthony Davis not playing and stuff like that. You should be playing Anthony Davis, and then you try to go play, and he clearly showed he can't play. you're not helping Anthony Davis, not helping himself, and you're not helping the team. So, I wish all these teams good luck. I hope, we get a lot of good contact, a lot of good play this year. And it'll be interesting to see how this season plays out. I'll let you talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is one of the divisions that's just going to be very interesting because, like I said, hell, even with the Clippers being at the bottom, will if they go get James Harden, at some point in the season. So that can change up a lot as well. But this is going to be one of those divisions where it's going to play a huge part. I think that we're looking at least 4 teams in this division in the playoffs. I think the Nuggets are definitely in the playoffs. Then you're probably looking at maybe 2 or 3 teams in the Southwest in the playoffs as well. So for me, like I said, I think that the Pacific is going to be tough. Every matchup that we see, starting with the one Tuesday, and like I said, it's going to be very, very interesting. I just got done. I'm not sure how many people watch. I just got done watching Winning Time 2, season 2. Just finished watching it again, and it basically talked about how the Lakers were built, what they had to go through to get there, and the dynasty and how it came together. So even though it's kind of a show, it kind of gives you an insight of that. But again, that Pacific has always been tough, but now it just got a hell of a lot tougher. And as many would joke and say that the Clippers were little brothers to the Lakers. The Clippers are trying to make a move and be a hell of a lot better as well. So again, the West is already going to be tough, but that Pacific, that's probably going to be something we talk about every couple weekends.
Yeah, this. And I think one thing, before the season tips off, I'm kind of curious to see like those young teams, like Charlotte Hornets. How Brandon Miller's going to look with this team. You know, I I know he's been taking the civil court and stuff like that due to a young lady's death. How is he going to focus with that, and how that trial in Tuscaloosa going to affect his play early on in the season? Because we're still waiting to hear back from the judge here in Tuscaloosa if they're going to go to trial or not, because his former teammates trying to claim self-defense in that shooting. So I'm wondering, how they're going to affect his play. And he got to go to trial, all that stuff, and he got to be a witness, all that good stuff. Excuse me. How he's going to factor in his play. Scoot Henderson, he's got the keys to the point guard position. How he's going to play this year? Can he be the new face for the franchise for Portland? He kind of struggled out the gate a little bit in the preseason. It's a long season. How he's going to play out for him? Victor Wembanyama, we talked, how he looks and stuff like that. It's going to be a scary ass sight for a lot of teams. And also, second year guys, sort of, Chet Holmgren, OKC. His first full year. How is he going to look this year? Play somewhat similar to Wembanyama, might not as athletic as him, but talking about a 7-foot guy that can handle the ball, shoot the ball well. How he's going to be his first season technically playing? Down Orlando, Paolo. Can he take another leap in year 2? That I kind of expect him to take a big leap in year 2. Can he finally put Orlando back on the map? And lead that team to greatness. as you've seen before and I've seen before in our lifetime. So the NBA it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be interesting who's going to be sellers at a certain point in the season. The Philly situation, that's going to be very interesting to watch play out. When does James Harden get traded? Because he had showed up to one only except for one practice. Joel Embiid, how long does he want to stay there? If he does, I I sent you like a YouTube video, about Masai Ujiri and the Toronto Raptors owner kind of beefing. I'll link that video for y'all to watch. But we talked about Masai like a couple weeks ago. He's kind of like fumbling the Raptors situation right now. The Knicks, can they make the playoffs again? Do they make they swings for defensive for Joel if he becomes available? So a lot of questions around this league, D-Lock, like that we're going to see play out this season. And also, yeah, I forgot, you got the in-season tournament too. So we'll see how that factors into things, all that good stuff, all that. But I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's going to be a very interesting season. I mean, like, got a lot of superstars in the West, and somebody has to finish at the bottom. Now, we always do these previews, and it ends up being way different than what we projected. So I'm definitely excited to see how this goes. Yeah, the Clippers, if they do stay healthy, they play their games, and they might be up at the top as well.
And that's true, and a lot of things can swing for a lot of different teams. So, the Pacers, they were in playoff contention for a little bit early in the season, but they kind of fell down. So, a lot of things go factor in a lot of teams' way and all that stuff. But I do want to appreciate the chat tonight. Thank you all for chatting with us tonight. Terry Rodriguez, Marcus, Los Great, Mike Pat. I greatly appreciate y'all's your contributions tonight. Next week, NBA season kicking off. We'll be talking about week 1. Give our instant reactions. Who played well. Who didn't. Are we rushing to jump in a couple things? And so forth. So James Harden, does he get traded before the season start, or when does he show up to play in Philly? Whatever. So a lot of things to talk about from here to next week. We'll see how things go. But D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Black-813, both Twitter and Instagram, or X and Instagram. Let them know they can find you at the show's page.
You can find the show's page on X/Twitter at FastBreakIESR. That's FastBreakIESR. Do follow IE Sports Radio on all your social media feeds at X/Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube as well. I want to shout out to our title sponsor again, Planet Jerky. Get your jerky now before the NBA season starts. That got a good sale going on, so do get your jerky on planetjerky.net. That is planetjerky.net. Not just for basketball, but football season still going on. The World Series about to start here. Hockey's revving up as well. Hell, even for your local high school football games, playoffs about to start here soon. Get your jerky now at planetjerky.net. A lot of good flavors on the site. I do have my own X/Twitter account at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. I do never show the side. called The Crooks Process. You can find the show on Facebook and Instagram, The Crooks Process, and also on YouTube and TikTok as well, The Crooks Process. Do check me out on there. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk about week 1 in the NBA season. Lots of good things to talk about then, but we'll talk to y'all next week. We're out. Talk to y'all later. Peace. Be safe out there.